You close your eyes, letting the world slowly fade away. Every sound dissolves into silence until all that remains is your own breath, soft, steady, a tiny vibration against the vastness. And then you begin to move backward, past the quiet mountains, past the restless oceans, past the fading glow of dying stars. Each step takes you further from the present, beyond galaxies, beyond atoms, until everything becomes nothing more than a thin mist vanishing into the void. And then there is nothing. No light, no form, no time to flow, no space to hold it. An endless emptiness, so still that even the idea of silence hasn't yet been born. The world has never begun. No one is watching. No one is dreaming. Only a stillness so deep it feels as if it's waiting for someone to open their eyes. What, in that place, stirred everything into being? From where did time begin to count its first beats? Perhaps the answer is still whispering somewhere in the dark, where the universe takes its very first breath in sleep. If your heart trembles at the sigh of nothingness, stay a little longer. Tonight, we'll listen together to the story of what came before it all began. You open your eyes in a nameless night. No explosion, no flash of light, no sign that a universe has just been born. Only a quiet expansion, like mist gently swelling from a breath. There's no center to move toward, no edge to touch. Everywhere is a beginning. Every direction leads outward, and you float among it all, suspended in endless motion. From that void, you hear the faint hum of the first light. Not an explosion, but a wave rippling outward, soft as water touching glass. Each photon is a droplet of time, seeping through invisible cracks in the fabric of nothingness. People call it the Big Bang, but it never really banged. It didn't rip or burst or fling matter away from anywhere. It simply expanded itself, as gently as the heartbeat of a growing dream. Imagine this. Space wasn't an empty stage waiting to be filled. It was the curtain itself, stretching to become the stage. Every point in the universe expanded at once. There was no middle, no edge to cross, only the feeling of being inside a bubble of time itself, swelling from within, with no outside at all. The world wasn't born in a place, but in a moment. It didn't explode into space, it created space. When you picture the Big Bang as fireworks, the image is wrong. It didn't shoot out sparks, it was more like warmth learning how to exist. Every galaxy, every grain of dust, every thought you've ever had once overlapped in a state language cannot describe. Not hot, not cold, not bright, not dark, simply present. And that presence grew, not because of an explosion, but because its nature was to expand. Like consciousness awakening after sleep, the universe opened its eyes in silence. With each passing second, the distance between invisible specks doubled, then doubled again. No one knows why it began, only that it never stopped. Yet in that vast quiet, humans think in sounds. They called it the Big Bang, because we need a word for beginnings, a bang to convince ourselves something happened. But there was no sound. Air didn't exist, and there were no waves to carry vibration. The Big Bang was the quietest explosion in history, one no one could ever hear. You drift between the ideas of nothing and being. When you think of a singularity, you imagine a tiny point, a glowing seed that held the entire universe. But that, too, is an illusion of thought. The singularity wasn't a thing. It was a boundary of understanding, a place where numbers collapse and mathematics runs out of words. There, the laws of physics dissolve, like light reaching the edge of itself and fading away. You see equations flicker in the dark, like burning webs struggling to hold together. They can't bear the weight of infinity. Each formula that once seemed perfect tears open, revealing the void behind it, a silence beyond numbers. We call it a singularity, but really, it's just our confession. We don't know. In that moment, you hear a whisper of humility. The universe stays silent, yet its silence feels kind, as if saying that what we call a beginning is simply the limit of our mind. Perhaps there was never a before or after, only slices of a greater motion, one so vast that even time is just its breathing. And you begin to understand. The Big Bang isn't just a story about matter, but about how we look at existence itself. Humans crave an origin, a birthday for the cosmos, a moment to point to and say, here, this is where it all began. But the universe doesn't know calendars. It only knows how to expand, like a song without an opening note, only a melody that keeps spreading outward. You pass through the mist of imagination, seeing young galaxies spinning in milky light, seeing the first beams racing through space that hasn't cooled yet. All of it is happening within you, not out there. Because there is no out there. No borders, no walls. Every step you take, space itself unfolds beneath your feet, like a path blooming for the traveler. You see a single spark, then more. Billions, trillions. They rush apart, yet no place is the center. In this grand game, every point can say, I am in the middle, and all of them would be right. The universe has no single heart. It's a boundless body where every cell beats together. Then you look at yourself and realize you too are expanding. Your body, your thoughts, your memories, all part of the same motion. You're not in the universe. You are the universe, watching itself unfold. When you breathe, the universe breathes. When you fall silent, so does it. A thought flickers like a falling star. If the Big Bang wasn't the beginning, what came before it? The question makes no sound, only an echo inside your mind. You hear it, then you don't. Maybe there was no before, because time itself was born in that moment. Before the first clock could tick, there was nothing to compare, only an endless present, neither born nor dying. Perhaps the universe didn't begin with an explosion, but with a blink, a shift from stillness to motion, from silence to vibration. Like the final drop sliding off a leaf or the first breath of a newborn. No sound, only movement. No beginning, only continuation. You close your eyes, feeling yourself small enough to dissolve into the infinite dark. All familiar images of beginnings fade away, leaving only a sense of something gentle, quiet, and endlessly vast. Maybe the Big Bang never happened. Maybe it's still happening, right now, in every breath you take, in every molecule of air, in the distance stretching between the stars. And when you realize that, a calm washes over you. Because there's no need to search for where the universe began. Everywhere is a beginning. There was no bang, no blast. Only the infinite expansion of light, a wordless song echoing across billions of years, and you, the smallest note, vibrating softly within its grand symphony. You look up at the night sky, into the vast darkness scattered with stars, unaware that the light you see isn't arriving, it's returning. Every ray is a memory, sent from billions of years ago, drifting through cold dust and silence, carrying the whispers of a universe that was once very young. In that stillness, you can almost hear it, the slow heartbeat of space itself, steady and ancient, so constant it feels like it could go on forever. Somewhere else in the cosmos, humanity has learned how to listen, not by pressing their ears to the ground, but by pressing their minds to the sky. In 2013, a machine named Planck began sending back the first images of the faint light left over from the dawn of time. Not light our eyes could see, but a warm afterglow still lingering in the fabric of the cosmos, the cosmic microwave background, the trace of an age long past, the first breath of a newborn universe. Imagine it, in Planck's map. The universe doesn't appear as stars, but as blotches of color, pale and uneven like a breath frozen in time. Each bright spot is a silent note, an echo from when space itself was dense and hot, still trying to figure out what it was. That light isn't just a memory, it's a witness. It tells us the universe once burned, then thickened, then stretched and cooled. It tells of a morning without a sunrise, of expansion without direction, of existence without an observer. Between the numbers, scientists noticed something strange. The data didn't just confirm that the Big Bang was real, it opened another door. Inflation, the cosmic growth spurt. They saw that the universe didn't simply expand, it once ballooned faster than anything we can imagine. In a fraction of a second, it swelled by trillions upon trillions of times, as if space itself had been blown up by a cosmic wind, as if nothingness was trying to escape itself. You drift between both ends of that story, between the present and the beginning. Everything around you is still stretching, still moving away. Every galaxy, every speck of light you see is quietly sailing toward a place that can never be reached again, like tiny boats drifting down the river of time. They're not fleeing from a center. They're simply leaving each other, creating more emptiness between all things. Space doesn't expand into something else. It expands to make room for itself. That universe, as Planck softly tells us, is about 13,787,000,000 years old. A number too vast to touch, too cold to truly imagine. You close your eyes and try to picture 13 billion years passing in a single breath, the universe breathing so quietly no one could ever hear it. In that breath, you, this planet, every grain of dust are only fragments of that same story. The ancient light is still here, threading its way between newborn stars. It isn't bright or fierce, just a soft glow filling every corner of space, like the warmth left in a room after a candle has gone out. It surrounds you right now, passing through skin and bone, through everything, unnoticed. When you look into the night, you are bathing in memory, the universe's memory of itself. There's something haunting about that silence. When you look at a star, you're seeing into the past. But when Planck looked, it didn't peer back hundreds of light years. It looked back to when there were no stars, no planets, no forms at all, only the dense haze of raw energy. It looked into a night before there was night, into light that didn't yet know its own name. In that moment, humanity brushed against the edge of time itself. The glowing dots on the CMB map are like tiny grains of dust suspended in air. They reveal the first structures of everything, small ripples in the primordial sea of energy. From those ripples, billions of years later, galaxies formed. Every star you see is the child of one of those ripples. That ancient light composed the first notes of the symphony that would become everything. You sit beneath the night sky, seeing it as a great mirror reflecting memory. In that mirror, every light drifts farther away, fading, vanishing. Yet strangely, it doesn't feel like loss. Every star that dies leaves behind a resonance, like the final echo of a song that never truly ends. That echo is what Planck heard, not an explosion, but a lingering hum, thin yet enduring, spreading endlessly through space. Science calls it data, but to you, it feels like poetry written in light. Every number, every patch of color on that map is a heartbeat of the cosmos. If you look long enough, you can almost see it breathing, dreaming, remembering. You think about how every galaxy is drifting away from every other. With each passing moment, the universe swells a little more. The gaps between stars stretch open like fingers uncurling. In the far future, the light of other galaxies will fade and vanish from view. One day, the sky will be dark, empty, except for a few dying embers. Yet even then, the echo of that first moment will remain, weaving through the darkness, softly singing the song of beginnings. You wonder if maybe humans will never truly hear the universe, but we can feel it. That feeling is slow and faint, like hearing your heartbeat underwater. Every pulse is space answering back. Science measures that echo with antennas and equations, but you measure it through stillness. Somewhere out there, Planck still drifts along its orbit, a metal leaf caught in the cosmic wind. It no longer takes pictures, but its legacy continues to spread, like the light it once captured. For billions of years to come, that light will keep traveling, telling anyone who learns to listen that once there was a tiny moment when the universe opened its eyes for the first time. You glance around the darkened room and realize that every particle of dust floating beside you was once forged in the heart of the first stars. Every breath you take was once light, once energy painted across the map Planck made. The universe isn't out there. It's within you, in your slowing breath, in your veins carrying the echo of billions of years of expansion. Outside, the specks of light keep flying away. No destination, no direction. They're simply doing the only thing the universe has ever known how to do, to keep expanding, to keep telling its story in silence. You sit there listening, and you can almost hear the echo rippling through time, through everything, through you. The echo of the universe, small as a breath, endless as forever. You sit in the dark, thinking about that very first moment when the universe unfolded like a flower blooming in the night. No sound, no light, just a faint tremor, and then everything swelled outward, so fast that words hadn't yet been invented to describe it. Every particle, Every dimension, every gap in existence spilled outward like steam from a dream. People would later call it inflation, the instant when space multiplied itself, in a blink that had no witness. Alan Guth, a small man standing amid a century full of glittering dust, looked into the equations of the cosmos and saw them tremble. He realized the Big Bang, as we imagined it, was incomplete. It could explain expansion, but not flatness. It said the universe exploded, but not why it was so eerily smooth, so symmetrical in every direction. He stared into the cracks of theory and saw a faint, persistent light, like moonlight trembling on the surface of water. From that quiet, a thought was born. Perhaps before the Big Bang flared to life, the universe had already swelled outward in a colossal breath. Not an explosion, but an expansion, like a heart beating for the first time. A hazy quantum field filled everything, unseen but dense, carrying the energy of existence itself. In a moment shorter than any moment could be, it quivered, then collapsed, releasing a flood of energy. Space tore away from itself, expanding a billion times in less than a fraction of a second. No one heard it, for sound did not yet exist. There was only expansion, silent but fierce as the wind of nothingness. Imagine it. The entire universe smaller than a speck of dust, then suddenly swelling into an ocean. Not because something exploded, but because the distance between points stretched like fabric caught in a gust. Every gap born between two particles multiplied endlessly. Space wasn't expanding into something, it was creating the very place to exist. A divine instant, yet so peaceful, like the first drop of water falling onto a still lake. Within that expansion, everything took shape. The first particles, nameless bundles of energy, danced in a sea of light. As the quantum field cooled, it began to ripple softly, fading into matter. Every electron, every photon, every newborn quark, each emerged from the trembling of pure energy. The universe turned from empty to full, from silence to life. You see it unfolding slowly in your mind, light without color, matter not yet solid, just a shimmering ocean of energy, waving like dark water under moonlight. Everything seemed aware, as if the universe knew it was beginning, knew it had just opened its eyes. Inflation, a cold term in textbooks, but inside it lies a hidden melody. A note stretched across billions of years, one that still hums today. When you breathe, when the earth spins, when sunlight slips through your window, each is an echo of that moment. You wonder how a single instant could create everything, how a flicker of energy could become matter, then stars, then you. There is no answer, only a feeling, like hearing the ocean without knowing how each drop moves, yet somehow sensing that it's alive, that it's calling. Planck, the cold eye hanging in space, looked back at that moment. It saw no explosion, only tiny ripples in the ancient sea of light. From them, it read the rhythm of inflation, the fingerprints of the universe's first expansion. One small number, not neat, not perfect, the universe nearly flat, but with a gentle ripple, just enough for galaxies to be born. That number, not quite 1, around 0.96, whispered that inflation was real. Its imperfection was the proof of life. You think of that number as the heartbeat of the universe. Not perfect, but meaningful. Not smooth, but still pulsing. From that rhythm, the cosmos learned to breathe, to stretch, to slow its pulse over billions of years. Every exploding star, every blooming nebula, every forming planet, each is an echo of that first breath. Then you realize, the Big Bang may have been just a fleeting moment in a much longer expansion. Not the beginning of everything, but a byproduct, like smoke lingering after flame. The universe didn't explode, it opened. An invisible door, not just for matter, but for time, for space, for the possibility of being. You sit silently, watching strands of energy weaving together, trembling like silk glowing in the dark. Each strand a possibility, each vibration a potential world. Perhaps everything is still quivering, softly, evenly, like breath in the night. Perhaps the universe has never stopped expanding. Perhaps, in every speck of dust drifting through sunlight, you can still feel that cosmic pulse continuing. Quiet, unseen, infinite. A thin sadness drifts through the thought that everything is drifting farther away forever. Galaxies part like ships losing their harbors, their light passing through you before fading into silence. Yet within that sadness lies a strange peace, because that very drifting is proof that the universe still breathes. Expansion is its heartbeat, and as long as it expands, it is alive. You slowly close your eyes. In the darkness behind your eyelids, you still see the universe unfolding, layer by layer, breath by breath. No borders, no center, only motion, silent, steady, eternal. Maybe that's the true nature of existence. Not explosion, not beginning, but unfolding. A simple act, repeating forever, from nothing to something, from small to vast, from stillness to motion. Somewhere among the cold stars, the echo of inflation still hums, a sound no one can hear, yet everyone lives within. It has no end, no start, only continuation, like the long, quiet breath of time itself. You step out of the dream of inflation, where the universe blossomed like a vast, misty flower, only to realize that perhaps it never stopped blooming. Space is still stretching, time is still breathing, and every passing moment unfolds another layer of existence. Everything didn't end when the quantum field settled. It merely changed rhythm, like a melody shifting key but continuing its song. They call this eternal inflation, the endless expansion of the cosmos, where there is no pause, no border, no afterward. You look around and see space weaving itself like a living fabric. In some places, the threads tighten and cool, forming calm pockets, tiny bubbles where matter emerges, light blooms, and time begins to flow. Elsewhere, the fabric keeps stretching, curling, expanding. The great expansion never stops. From outside, if such a thing as outside exists, the universe might look like an endless field, where shimmering bubbles are constantly being born, drifting and dissolving into the flat ocean of infinity. Each bubble is its own world, sometimes similar, sometimes utterly strange. In some, physics behaves as we know it. In others, light never reddens, or perhaps never existed at all. You drift inside one such bubble, unaware that you're just a droplet among countless others. Each droplet a universe, a life, a story. No one can know them all, because everything beyond our observable limit races away faster than light itself. Other worlds, if they exist, slip away like dreams you can't quite remember. In the stillness, you can almost hear the sound of endless creation, not an explosion, but a soft murmur of bubbles bursting. There is no center, only motion. Every moment, a universe is born. Every silence, another fades away. All of it, the slow breath of a colossal being, inhaling and exhaling across trillions of years. Imagine, in the mirror of infinity, every possibility is tested. Somewhere, the laws of physics are completely different. Somewhere else, time runs backward, or not at all. Perhaps in a distant bubble, stars were born before the space that holds them. In another, life never arose. And maybe, in one bubble out there, you're sitting again, writing these same words, only a breath, a choice, a dream apart. We call this the multiverse, but words can barely touch it. It's not many universes, but an ocean of universes, boundless, uncountable. You cannot look outside, because there is no outside. Everything is just different regions of expansion within one grand field, like bubbles in a cup of tea, each one its own little world, yet all rising from the same liquid. Some have tried to find traces of other bubbles in the ancient map of cosmic light. They say, if two bubbles once collided, they would have left a scar on the sky, a faint ring, a shallow dent in the cosmic microwave background. They've searched every pixel of the CMB, like blind travelers feeling for the wall of an invisible room. A few faint hints appeared, like wisps of smoke, then vanished in the haze of statistics. No one knows if they were real, or just illusions born from the human need to believe. You think of those rings, those imagined imprints on the distant light. Maybe they exist, maybe not. Maybe they're messages from other universes, brushing the thin boundary between this space and another. Or maybe they're only reflections of ourselves, cast upon the mirror of nothingness. In the vastness of that idea, humanity becomes almost transparent. The question, why are we here, starts to feel misplaced. If there are infinite universes, none of them are special. There is no center, no chosen one. Every possibility happens somewhere. Every accident has its home. Your existence isn't destiny. It's just one of infinite paths reality decided to try. And yet, even as it makes us small, the idea carries a strange kind of beauty, the beauty of the infinite. To think that there are no boundaries, that the cosmos goes on forever, unfolding endlessly like a self-blooming field of light. Every instant, a new fragment of reality flickers into being. Though they may never touch, together they form an endless harmony, the song of creation itself. You gaze outward and see the universe as an eternal flower, blooming upon a dark canvas. Each petal a bubble, glowing with its own hue, perhaps the blue of life or the gray of frozen death. One petal opens as another closes, spinning the rhythm of endless time. Maybe that's the true nature of everything, a perpetual repetition, without purpose, yet profoundly poetic. Perhaps in this cosmic expansion, bubbles don't just separate, they meet, merge, dissolve into one another, creating hybrid worlds where the laws of two realities intertwine before fading away. No one knows, because no one can see through the veil of light. Some physicists don't believe any of it. They say, if something can't be tested, it isn't science. They want evidence, but the universe leaves no fingerprints. It doesn't need to prove itself, it only needs to continue. Maybe the multiverse isn't something to understand, but something to feel. The way you feel the wind pass by, even though you can't see it, you fall silent. In that moment, you sense the universe unfolding around you, layer upon layer, like ripples across a midnight lake. Each ripple a world, each world a note in a nameless song. You are nowhere specific now, drifting between possibilities. There is no your universe, only the universe becoming. And then a thought drifts in, as softly as breath, that somewhere, far away, another version of you might be looking up at the sky, at wondering the very same thing. The two of you will never meet, yet your gazes illuminate each other across the emptiness of infinity. Like two lanterns in the fog, never touching, yet together lighting the path. Eternal inflation, in its quiet way, isn't just about the universe. It's about existence itself, about how everything keeps unfolding, for no reason, without end, simply because it can. Just like you, born, living, and fading into nothingness, not to arrive anywhere, but to exist for a fleeting moment within eternity. You close your eyes. Behind your eyelids, tiny sparks flicker, like distant bubbles in the dark. Maybe they're reflections of the multiverse. Maybe they're just traces of thought. Either way, they're still expanding, swelling, dissolving. The universe never stops. It continues, softly, soundlessly, opening forever, like your own unending breath. You listen closely, and there it is, a faint sound, like the echo of a distant instrument drifting through mist. It doesn't come from anywhere, yet it comes from within everything. A vibration as fine as a strand of hair, carrying within it the entire song of existence. They call it string theory. It says that beneath the illusion of solid matter, there are no particles, no points, only tiny strings trembling in the dark. You look at a speck of dust. It seems still, but it's never truly still. Inside it, trillions upon trillions of strings are quivering, glowing filaments playing in the wind of nothingness. Each vibration is a melody of its own. One note becomes an electron, another becomes a photon, another becomes the particle of light, of gravity, of time itself. The universe, seen through that lens, is not a machine, but a symphony. Everything differs only by the frequency of the strings that sing it into being. But for that song to play in full, it needs more space than you can see. 10 dimensions, maybe 11. Far beyond imagination, beyond what the mind can even picture. Most of those dimensions aren't open but curled up, folded like invisible veins inside a gem. These compact dimensions are impossibly small, yet they decide everything. The way they fold, the way they twist, determines how the strings vibrate, how matter takes form, how the universe sings its song. You might imagine those hidden dimensions as caves spiraling in darkness, each corner holding a different vibration. There are countless ways for them to fold, about 10 to the 500th possibilities, people say. A number so vast it escapes comprehension. Every fold, every shape, corresponds to another possible universe, some differing only slightly, others entirely alien. In one, light travels slower. In another, gravity is so strong that time barely moves. In yet another, there are no atoms, no stars, nothing but stillness. All those possibilities form a strange mathematical landscape, the string landscape. Not a map you could hold, but a boundless labyrinth of potential. Every point is a universe that could exist, each humming with its own frequency, singing its own version of reality. And we, somehow, are just standing in a small crevice of that grand painting, hearing only the melody that allows life to be. Then you start to see eternal inflation, the endless expansion of space, not as something lonely, but as something that chooses. In that infinite swelling, somewhere, every new bubble might carry a different fold of dimensions, a new arrangement of strings. It's as if the cosmos is playing every possible symphony at once, countless songs blooming across the void, searching for the one that can give rise to life. You lift your head to the night sky. Those bright dots might just be mirrors, reflections of strings trembling in hidden dimensions. It feels like standing in the middle of a vast orchestra, yet hearing only a few low notes from an infinite harmony. Maybe you, that star, this planet, all of it, are just echoes of one melody among millions the universe is playing. There's something strange in that silence. Think long enough, and you realize that existence isn't about things. It's about rhythm. Not about what is created, but about how it vibrates, like a string that means nothing until it's touched. The universe only matters because it oscillates. Everything, even your thoughts, are waves, differing only in length, in frequency, in how they touch the fabric of space. In that mathematical dream, another idea arises, the anthropic principle. It says the universe appears this way not because it's special, but because only a universe like this allows you to exist and notice it. Among the endless strings, the endless songs, only a few harmonies can form stable structures, atoms, stars, water, breath. You exist not because you were chosen, but because every other melody couldn't contain you. That thought feels both cold and beautiful. It's the realization that you're not the center, just a tiny note in a cosmic orchestra, and somehow that makes every note precious. You listen more closely, and you can feel every dust particle, every ray of light pulsing to the same rhythm, to the same endless song you can never stop hearing. Nothing is separate. Nothing is still. Someone once said that if infinite universes exist, then everything that can happen has happened, is happening, will happen. Somewhere out there, different strings have sung another reality, one where you don't exist, or one where you are the light looking back at itself. Infinity doesn't choose, it only unfolds. And you're just drifting through a small passage of that melody, enough to be aware, enough to wonder who you are. You close your eyes. Behind your eyelids, you see threads of light, softly vibrating like moonlight ripples on water. They have no beginning, no end, only motion, fading, reappearing. Maybe that's the shape of the universe itself, or maybe it's just the reflection inside your mind, which is also trembling at a frequency no one else can hear. And in that silence, you realize there may be no boundary between matter and sound, between space and rhythm. The universe isn't something that was made and then began to sing. It is the song itself. No player, no audience. Every string is a question, every vibration an answer, all dissolving into the long breath of infinity. At the edge of that thought, you hear a faint hum, distant, as if echoing from the other side of reality. Maybe it's the first sound the universe ever made, or maybe it's your own voice, reverberating through countless folded dimensions. Both could be true, because in the end, everything is just strings vibrating. The universe, life, consciousness, all part of one single song, flowing through the darkness, never ending. You sit in a dark room where light is nothing more than a faint breath. Everything around you is still as stone, yet within you, the universe keeps moving. Invisible strings, cosmic bubbles, cold fields of energy, they're all still vibrating, still unfolding. But then, amid that endless resonance, a silence appears. A silence quiet enough for you to hear your own voice ask, "Is any of this real?" The question drops like a raindrop on a midnight lake. Ripples spread slowly, evenly, fading into the dark. The multiverse, string theory, those mathematical dreams drawn in symbols, maybe they're only mirages. Exquisite maps of human intellect, but without a destination. You realize that the deeper you wander into the universe, the blurrier the line between discovery and imagination becomes. Science drifts closer to philosophy, and then the two dissolve into each other like merging mist. Some things can never be verified, not because we lack technology, but because their very nature lies beyond observation. A parallel universe, even if it exists, would never leave a signal behind. A curled-up dimension, even if real, is smaller than the idea of smallness itself. You look into the dark and see equations floating like cold stars. They shine, but they don't warm. They're right, yet maybe not true. They call it the limit of perception. A wall in the mind, built not of stone, but from the structure of reality itself. Human eyes see only a narrow band of light, ears catch only a fraction of sound, and consciousness skims just the surface of infinity. You live inside a thin shell of the visible world, looking out and calling it the universe. But perhaps most of it lies silent beyond that veil you'll never cross. There are nights when physicists sit before a blackboard, staring at chalk-covered symbols. In the dim light, they see galaxies inside equations, but also the abyss of doubt. One wrong line could collapse an entire theory. One unmeasured constant could turn a dream into nothing. They understand that sometimes the beauty of mathematics isn't proof, but temptation. Perfection can be a trap. You touch the wooden table, feeling its cool surface. The sensation is so real, it's hard to believe that everything might just be vibrations, of particles, of fields, of strings. Sometimes you trust the formulas. Other times you want to throw them all away and just hold on to the feeling that things exist simply because they do. No reason, no proof required. And yet, the question returns, soft as a breeze. Who set the rules of this universe? Those laws so delicate and perfect, gravity, charge, light, time, why are they exactly what they are and not something else? Why are the constants tuned so precisely that a tiny shift would erase life itself? Maybe someone, or something, composed this cosmic symphony long before there was anyone to hear it. You don't see a face behind that thought, only a vast darkness where ideas dissolve like smoke. Maybe there's no someone at all, only the laws themselves, self-born, self-perfecting, flowing like a river that moves because it cannot stay still. Or maybe, in some deeper layer of reality, there exists a nameless principle, without beginning, without need for a creator. A foundation so pure that even nothingness is just one of its forms. You think of the oldest question of all, why is there something rather than nothing? It sounds simple, but it can't be broken. Nothing is impossible to imagine because the moment you think of it, it becomes something. Emptiness is never silent. It reflects itself, unfolds, and plants the seed of being. Perhaps the universe wasn't born at all. It simply revealed what was always possible. In that moment, you see the universe as a mirror reflecting your own curiosity. You look at it, it looks back, and both of you ask the same question. Awareness stretches to reach beyond its own edge, but the farther it goes, the more it finds itself. Humanity searches for the origin of the cosmos, only to realize that what we're really seeking is the meaning of existence itself. You find yourself drifting between two poles, faith and doubt. On one side, the light of science illuminating every layer of structure. On the other, the shadow of what can't be measured. Together they form the space you inhabit, where knowledge and mystery coexist like two sides of a coin. Outside your window, the night stretches on. The starlight reaching you now left its home billions of years ago. Those stars may already be gone. The light you see is their past. Maybe the entire universe you live in is just a delayed reflection of something else. A dream dreamt by space itself. And you realize, maybe we don't need to know it all. Some mysteries exist not to be solved, but to shine quietly in the dark, like lanterns that don't banish the night, but make it beautiful. The multiverse, string theory, the paths that lead into nothingness. Perhaps they're simply how human curiosity touches its own limits, trying to name the unnameable. You close your eyes. Behind your eyelids, tiny sparks flicker like stars. Maybe they're lights from other universes, or maybe just the echoes of neurons in your brain. Either way, they shine, patiently, without asking why. Maybe the universe is the same, existing not for a purpose, but because it cannot not exist. Beneath all theories, you hear a faint whisper like wind across a field of time. A voice without words, only a feeling that everything, real or not, is sharing the same dream. The dream of existence. A dream in which you are just a blink. But in that single blink, brief and fragile, you still manage to reflect the light of infinity. You open your eyes, and what you see isn't night, but the slow breathing of space itself. Nothing begins, nothing ends. Everything drifts within the rhythm of its own cycle. From afar, the universe no longer looks like a story with a beginning, but like a series of interlocking circles, ripples spreading endlessly across a shoreless sea. Perhaps the Big Bang wasn't the universe's first awakening, but simply one beat in a symphony that never stopped playing. Some call it the cyclic universe, an idea older than time, yet every time it's spoken, it feels new again. Deep within theory, where numbers merge with intuition, lies a story about two vast membranes, two brains, floating silently through an 11-dimensional space. Each time they collide, a flash of light ignites, spreading like fire meeting oil. Not an explosion, but a rebirth. In that instant, a new universe is born. Then the brains drift apart again, cooling, dimming, fading into darkness, waiting for the next touch. You can see it in your mind, two luminous veils slowly drawing closer. No sound, no force, only the quiet tension of something about to happen. When they meet, time trembles. Every particle, every star, every idea flickers back into existence. There is no first moment, only repetitions. Each one a new cosmos, rising from the ashes of the old, carrying faint echoes of what came before, like a wave forming from the same old sea, neither the same nor different, just a continuation. There's something strangely comforting in that thought. The death of the universe is no longer an ending, but a pause between two chapters. The cold expansion, the fading stars, the silence that follows. All of it, not nothingness, but the long exhale of a vast living being, waiting to breathe in again. In that darkness, the cosmic membranes drift closer once more, meeting, sparking, burning. There is no first moment and no final one. Then you hear another idea, like lightning flashing in stillness, the big bounce. Not an explosion, but a rebound. A universe collapsing inward, pressing against its limits, then springing back. No singularity, no absolute void. Before the Big Bang, there might have been a big crunch, a universe aging, folding in on itself, then in less than the beat of a heart, stopping and bouncing outward again. Like a pulse, contracting and expanding, forever. You imagine that moment, when every star, every galaxy, every beam of light is drawn into one point. No space, no direction. And then suddenly a spark flares, not from outside, but from within the fabric of space itself. The contraction hits the quantum limit, where gravity stops being a curve and becomes a dense web of tiny loops. They vibrate, they twist, they reverse. The universe opens again, like a string being plucked. Everything is born from that motion, light, pure, unnamed. And in that instant, you understand that nothingness might simply be a pause in existence. Nothing is lost, only transformed. There is no end, only return in another form. Perhaps everything is happening infinitely many times. Perhaps you've lived, died, and looked up at this same sky countless times before. Only you no longer remember. From that seed of thought, Roger Penrose steps forward with an even grander vision. He calls it conformal cyclic cosmology, another kind of cycle, but not a closed one. In his view, the universe expands endlessly until every particle fades, every atom decays, and only light remains. A universe old, cold, and empty, without time because nothing changes. Yet in that state, when scale itself loses meaning, light folds back upon itself, giving birth to a new world. You picture that moment. The universe dying in perfect silence. No stars, no warmth, only stray photons wandering through the dark. Space stretches until it loses its sense, and suddenly, time curls inward. Light becomes the seed of a new era. A new cosmos rises from the ashes of the old. Not with a bang, not with fire, but with a quiet glow, like an ember stirring back to life. Penrose believes traces of past universes might still linger in the ancient cosmic microwave background. Faint circles in the CMB, like rings of time, could be the relics of massive explosions from a previous cosmos. If you look closely, you might see them. Memories blurred, yet patiently waiting to be found. You look up at the sky. Every star, every speck of light could be dust from an older cycle, reignited in the new one. Nothing is ever lost, only transformed. Life, matter, light, all travelers on an endless journey of return. There's something deeply human in these ideas, a longing for continuity, a quiet hope that after death, whether of a person or a universe, something still remains. Not because we fear the end, but because, deep down, endings never feel real. Everything moves. Everything comes back. Like the seasons shedding leaves, like the lungs exhaling and filling again. You sit in silence, feeling the warmth of the universe in your palm. Perhaps it was once the dust of a dying star, or part of someone who lived in another cosmic age. You inhale, and the universe passes through you, atom by atom, photon by photon, memory by memory, older than life itself. The feeling of smallness spreads, but it isn't sad. Because in that smallness you understand, you too are part of this rhythm, a single breath in the infinite cycle of life and death. The universe doesn't need to be born because it has never truly died. It only changes how it appears, like light shifting color through water. Still the same beam, only in a different hue. And then you close your eyes. In the darkness, you see circles expanding outward, like ripples in an endless sea of space. At the center of each ring, a universe, quietly expanding, quietly fading, quietly reborn. Everything continues, with or without you. There is no center, no final point. Perhaps the universe is simply dreaming of itself, a long dream without a beginning or an end, only countless awakenings in different forms. And you, a tiny flicker of light within that dream. Smile in your brief moment of awareness, realizing that maybe death is nothing more than the universe changing its tone to sing the same ancient song once more, the song of rebirth. You stand in a place with no up, no down, only a silence spreading out like breath. Everything is so still, you can hear the sound of your own thoughts dissolving into space. Here, there are no clocks, no flow, no past to look back on or future to wait for. Only an endless present, neither moving forward nor back. Some call this before the Big Bang, but even that name makes no sense, because before is a word that belongs to time, and time has never existed here. You ask, then when did the Big Bang happen? The question melts the moment it's born, like a pebble falling into a lake that has no water. Without time, when becomes meaningless. Maybe there was no starting point, no first second, only a transformation, from stillness to motion, from potential to being. It wasn't an explosion, but an awakening, like light opening its eyes for the first time, without asking where it came from. In the darkness of nothingness, you sense something like a breath, slow, deep, expanding in all directions. Perhaps it's the universe's first rhythm, not heard as sound but felt as presence. As it spreads, space unfolds with it. And then time, a small child, follows, clinging to the motion of everything, learning to count, learning to flow. But beneath it all, time never truly flows. It simply is. You look around and see events, moments, birth, death, light, shadow, all hanging like paintings, arranged in no particular order. They coexist, like parallel slices inside a vast crystal. Maybe the past isn't behind you, and the future isn't ahead, but both stand side by side, differing only by perspective. You move through time like a traveler walking in fog, each step a world, each breath a new universe. Some say time is an illusion, a habit of perception. The brain strings memories together into a line so it can grasp what can't be grasped. It weaves before and after, yesterday and tomorrow, just as children connect stars into the shape of a bear. But there is no bear, only scattered points of light. Yet that illusion is how stories are told. You look within yourself and realize that your memories aren't truly connected. They only appear in the order you've been taught to call time. Maybe, in some eternal instant, you are still the child staring up at the sky, the adult sitting here now, and the dust that will someday fade into the air, all at once, together, not before or after. As you drift deeper into that thought, everything begins to dissolve. Boundaries fade. There is no Big Bang, no beginning, only presence. Perhaps nothing was ever created. The universe didn't appear. It revealed itself, like a curtain slowly pulled away from the dark. No one wove it because the darkness itself is part of the fabric. You close your eyes and see time as a serpent swallowing its own tail, complete without beginning or end. Every moment lies along the same circle, bound by invisible threads of existence. Maybe you have already been at the origin and the end, only looking from two directions at once. When you understand this, the question, what was before the Big Bang, becomes light as breath. Maybe there was nothing, because before was never real. Or maybe before and after are just two faces of the same thing, like day and night. Neither could exist without the other. You hear a voice in your mind from nowhere, asking, did a beginning ever truly exist? No answer comes, only a faint sense spreading through you. Maybe beginning is what the mind calls the moment it notices what was always there. Like the sunrise, we call it dawn, but the sun never stopped shining. We just began to see it. Time, perhaps, is the same. Neither born nor destroyed, simply waiting to be noticed. Every moment in the universe, from the first flash of light to the final breath of a dying star, rests quietly in the invisible structure of existence. When we say time passes, maybe we're the ones moving through it, like travelers wandering the corridors of our own being. You think about the idea of the timeless. It isn't frightening like the void, nor empty like silence. It's full, dense, alive, like an ocean before the first wave. In that state, there are no questions, no questioners. Every idea, life, death, light, darkness, blends together into a smooth, transparent stream. And then you realize maybe time itself is asking about its own nature. It doesn't know where it began or if it ever had to. It flows, then looks back at that flow, recognizing it has always existed, long before awareness gave it a name. Just like you, sitting here, thinking about time, a small fragment of it, dreaming, wondering, lost within the very thing you're made of. Outside, the universe continues to expand. Every distance grows a little longer, every star a little older, every photon dims on its endless journey. Yet, on a deeper level, nothing truly goes anywhere. Everything happens all at once, simultaneously, forever. Expansion, collapse, birth, decay, all are different ripples on the same surface. You smile. Maybe the question, why is there something rather than nothing, doesn't need an answer. Because nothing has never existed. Even the idea of nothingness is a form of being. Everything has always been here, even before the notion of here existed. No one created the universe, and no one witnessed its beginning, because there never was a beginning. You open your eyes. The sky before you is still dark, but something feels different. The light of a distant star has just reached you, late by billions of years, yet right on time. In that light, you see both the beginning and the end, merging into one. Maybe the Big Bang was never the start of the universe, but the start of our awareness of it. A nameless moment where time no longer asks who it is, but simply exists quietly, like the endless breath of being itself. You sit in the dark, listening to the universe breathe. No sound, no motion, only a faint whisper, drifting through the void, echoing across time like the last trace of the very first moment. Maybe, before the Big Bang, there were endless universes, strung together like pearls on the thread of nothingness. Or maybe two cold dimensions collided, sparking a single grain-sized flash that grew into everything. Or perhaps there was nothing at all, only absolute silence, where even the idea of before meant nothing. But whatever it was, you are here, in a universe that never stops unfolding. Out there, galaxies drift apart like islands of light on an infinite sea. Every star holds an untold story. Every faint cloud of dust is a relic of ancient explosions. Every particle in your body was once the ash of dying stars, burned, scattered, and then gathered again into life. You breathe in, and the air fills your lungs, carrying atoms that have drifted through space for billions of years. In that breath, there may still be traces of light from the very first instant when time learned to flow. You look around and see everything so ordinary it feels sacred. The wall, the table, a wisp of smoke dissolving in lamplight. All of it woven from the same thread, the energy that once burst forth at creation. In every fragment of the world, the warmth of the Big Bang still hums softly. Though billions of years have passed, it has never gone out. It merely changed shape, changed rhythm, living on in countless forms. A star, a river, a human watching the night. Perhaps the universe is a poem that will never end. Each chapter an era, each line a universe, each word a moment still breathing. Humans have read only the first few lines before vanishing, yet the poem keeps going, stretching farther, echoing longer. No one knows who the author is, or if there even is one. Maybe the poem writes itself, in light, in darkness, in questions that never need answers. You remember that haunting question, what was there before everything began? Now it no longer matters, because the universe is here. You are here. Everything exists, quietly, beautifully. There is no need to know what came before, because maybe there was no before. There is only this moment, where the present stretches into infinity, where the light of the past touches you before slipping away toward a future you'll never see. You lift your head toward the night sky. The stars still shine, though their light left long before humans existed. Some of those stars are already gone, yet their light keeps traveling, like a message sent from a past that no longer is. Somehow, the universe keeps everything, even if only in a fragile ray of light. Nothing is ever truly lost. Nothing disappears. Everything just transforms, slowly, gently, without a sound. A speck of dust drifts through a beam of light, spinning as it falls. You watch, and inside it you see history. A carbon atom that once lived in the heart of a massive star, blasted apart, thrown across space, landing on Earth, becoming a part of you. And from that, light no longer feels distant. It is you. It is everything. It is the moment you open your eyes to see this world. Maybe before the Big Bang was a place without time, where all possibilities slept like seeds in the soil. Or maybe the universe didn't emerge from nothing, but from a shift in perception, when nothingness realized it existed. Maybe there was no creator, and the universe made humans so it could see itself. And maybe somehow it's looking back now through your eyes. In that moment, you feel both infinitesimally small and impossibly vast, as if you could dissolve into space and touch the farthest stars. You are not in the universe, you are part of it. Every cell, every thought, every heartbeat is a continuation of that first tremor, that first breath. There is no real distance between you and the cosmos, only the thin surface of awareness, like the water that separates the reflection from the one who looks. Outside, the night deepens. Light keeps traveling. There is no sign that the universe will stop. It expands, stretches, cools. But within that expansion, one thing remains constant: existence. No matter how many worlds are born or fade, there is always somewhere beginning anew. Every moment is a small Big Bang, flaring up in your mind, your heart, in the simple act of realizing you are alive. Maybe, in the end, what matters is not before or after, but now. Because the entire history of the cosmos, 13 billion years of expansion, formation, and life, all converge into a single point. This present moment where you breathe. In that breath lies ancient light, stardust, and the memory of space itself. A single instant, yet containing eternity. You slowly close your eyes. Everything dissolves, then gathers again. There are no more questions. No need to search for before the Big Bang or for why. Because existence itself is the answer. Because the fact that you can think, that you can feel, is the greatest miracle the universe has ever performed. Maybe the Big Bang wasn't just the beginning of the universe, but the silent realization of infinity becoming aware of itself. Maybe the universe didn't begin from nothing, but from a pure moment of consciousness, when the boundary between the observer and the observed vanished. You remain there, in the dim light. Everything is still, yet within that stillness, a heartbeat continues, slow and steady, never stopping, as if the universe were whispering, "I am still here." And you answer also in silence. No words are enough, only this feeling, to be alive, to exist, to hear the breath of infinity within your own.